Hello.
This call may be
Hey,
recorded for
Ansab.
coaching
So sorry about the delay.
purposes.
I was just emailing you.
Hey,
My call ran over, so thanks for
oh,
waiting.
that's all right. No,
How
no
are you?
issues. How are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm very well. Thank you for asking.
Awesome. Great to hear. Well, I'm just curious if you have a hard stop at the 30-minute mark, because I know we're running a little bit late here, so want to make sure
Yeah,
we're
that's fine.
maximizing our
That's
time.
fine. That's
Okay.
that's fine. I have some time, so it's fine.
Okay. Sounds good. Well, it's great to meet you. I'm Ethan. I've been with Modern Health for about a year and a half now, and so
Mhm.
I'm excited to kind of share more about what we do and learn really more about you. My goal for today's conversation is really just to see what you guys are looking for in terms of a well-being partner and solution, and again learn more high level about your organization, and then yeah, if it feels
Right.
like a right next step, we can always do. I usually recommend like a demo and getting some other people from your org involved. But yeah, just wanted to kind of leave the floor open to you to why you're here taking the call and sharing more about Allied Consultants.
Sure, absolutely. So I'll start off with my company called Allied Consultants. So they're IT consultants and their headquarters are based in California. And they have
Hmm.
another office in Pakistan, where I'm working as well. So we have employees with diverse background. We have employees in Pakistan and US, and we have employees, who speak different languages as well: English, Spanish, Urdu. So what we were inter I represent the company as a wellness officer. I've been working with the Allied Consultants for around a year now. So I've initiated few steps, promoting the well-being, and I've done a few clinical reports at Allied Consultants. And at this point, the board of directors were really interested to take this further. And we were looking at opportunities where we could collaborate with different organizations who could really uh, help us with our employees here
Mm.
in Pakistan as well as in US. So to be particular, we were looking at counseling and therapy as something that we would like to outsource, because obviously hiring a lot of psychologists will not be a solution to our problem. We would want a third party to be involved, and where we can offer counseling and therapy sessions to our employees. And obviously, we expect our partner to have a little bit flexibility as well in terms of languages as well, because as I mentioned earlier, we have employees from different backgrounds.
Hmm.
So yeah, I believe that's more like a summary of what we're looking for. If you have any particular question, then I'm more than happy to answer.
No, yeah, I appreciate all that context, and yeah, I guess happy to dive deeper into Modern Health. Obviously, we are a global organization, and proact really preventive well-being solution and platform. So really cool to hear about. There's literally a wellness officer at your organization, so that's pretty new. And so I'm curious, like taking a step back and what your vision is, like what are you trying to accomplish, like from a wellness perspective? And I guess
Um,
why the search for a partner?
right, right. So what happened was that I was involved into different projects at like consultants, where I basically did some qualitative analysis and as well as quantitative to show the company that
Hmm.
there is a link between mental well-being of our employees and overall productivity and revenue that is generated by the company.
Hmm.
So the company is convinced that there is a link between the well-being as well as the productivity, and if their
Hmm.
employees excel on the well-being, that means more revenue and more profit for the company. So the company is actually invested into the idea of expanding our wellness program. So why we are looking at the partnering opportunity is that I believe that uh, it will be really time consuming, and I believe that it might be really hard for us to hire a lot of psychologists in US and as well as in Pakistan. And
Yeah.
I believe it will be much suitable and affordable option as well to go for a third party. And I believe what we're looking for, we can get that with much more efficiency. Because I actually looked at few other platforms as well. The way the self-guided uh, material has been built by different organizations, such as Modern Health, I believe, self-guide books and stuff like that. So I believe if we were to build that, number one, we will need a lot of resource in terms of people, and then obviously it's going to be time consuming. So we are looking at something which is much more time efficient.
Hmm. Yeah, well, if it's okay, I'd like to summarize kind of what I've heard. So, like you, coming from the wellness side, there's literally a direct business impact between the well-being of the employees and how much revenue they're seeing. And so the belief is really like investing in, the well-being and prevention for employees and getting them resources is really crucial to the business function. Um, Honestly, like it's that's my job usually is to convince people that that's the case, and so it's really cool to hear that you've already done all the convincing. And in terms of like having a third party that's going to be make sure that you guys are getting care efficiently, having access to really global providers who speak these many different languages, being a global organization is important to you as well. So, is there anything else that I'm missing, or that you would like to add in that really brief summary?
Yeah, no, I think that's pretty much it. I'm really excited to know that how do you convince people with this information? Because it literally took me months and a bunch of qualitative analysis and
Yeah.
quantitative analysis. It took me a lot of time. So I'm really interested. How do you pitch that to your client?
Yeah, a lot of work, a lot of qualitative and quantitative analysis too. Yeah, really the approach that we take is prevention is the best medicine at Modern Health, right? And so we have a pretty wide, a global network of therapists, but also coaches and self-guided resources, and as well as group support sessions. So everything is kind of folded into one app. And that's really where the approach that we take has been showing a lot of business impact as people are coming into Modern Health using it proactively before they even reach a state of crisis. And so a lot of organizations that we work with are seeing higher retention rates of their employees. So fewer employees are actually leaving the organization. Like you said, productivity has a really big impact on productivity. People are actually showing up to work more present, feeling more connected. And then thirdly is actually the direct link between medical claims and mental health. And so I'm not sure exactly in Pakistan how that works, but in the U.S. especially, the higher people with mental illness or actually see 60% higher costs in medical claims, and so that's usually where a lot of the work comes in is actually doing analysis on for these specific organizations and how Modern Health might be able to support that. So um, yeah, like I said, we take a very clinical approach to everything and make sure that people are getting access to care quickly in a destigmatized way and an approach that really works for them. So
Mm,
with that said, I would love to I have a couple of really high level slides that I'd like to kind of go through. And I think I saw
sure.
your background. You had a PhD in psychology and
Organizational
um,
psychology.
organizational psychology. So I'm sure that this presentation is going to speak to you. And yeah, just as I'm going through this, I would kind of love to hear your perspective on it all too.
Sure.
So yeah, let me just go through. Can you see the screen here?
I can, yes.
Okay, great. And so, as a quick high level context for an history of Modern Health, we're actually the fastest female founded organization in the US to reach a $1 billion valuation. And,
Mm,
we were founded in 2017, and really all of this speaks to how much global orgs are seeing a need and demand
mm,
for really proactive mental health support.
mm.
Um, you mentioned, being efficient and having access to providers in multiple countries. So that's something that we've seen. So really, we're supporting as many global organizations as possible, anything from Fortune 50 to smaller organizations. So Allied Consultants, I saw you. How many employees do you have? On LinkedIn, I think it
So
was
we
like
have we
three.
have 200 employees,
Okay,
so current
got it.
date.
Got it. Okay, perfect. Yeah, so that's kind of right within the sweet spot that we're seeing within organizations who are really growing or really they don't necessarily have like the most support yet, and so they're just starting to build this infrastructure as they grow. Is the organization like what are your guys' goals and plans for the future in terms of hiring and making sure employees are feeling supported?
In terms of, are you talking about recruitment in particular?
Yeah, I guess recruitment and yeah, talent, maybe talent retention as well.
Yeah, definitely. I believe that we're growing. I believe with a very good number because, as you know, the company is uh, in line with the IT projects which they
Hmm.
went from the US. So I believe it's really growing, and they started the company with just 5 people, and they're just grown within
Wow,
some time to 200 people. So
that's amazing.
we are really, yeah, it's really expanding.
Wow, and when did you join the company?
I joined like a year back.
Okay, got it. And so have you been seeing a lot of growth as well in that time?
Yeah, yes, definitely. Well, my role within the company is slightly different. Um, I'm more like sitting on my desk and probably working on some research, talking to employees and doing some analysis.
Hmm.
So I don't see at this very moment. At a point, I started counseling, but at this point, we don't have enough resources to provide counseling to all our employees.
Hmm.
So yeah, I don't at this very moment, I don't see a lot of employees.
Hmm. 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 I see. Okay. So
So
yeah, you
so so
were you kind of brought in as the as a consultant for like more strategy work or
Yes,
were you
because
okay,
yes, exactly. So I am heading the wellness program actually.
got it.
So I'm working
Okay.
more as a consultant and I'm giving them the strategy how to build around it. And
Got it.
initially, actually, the founder of the company, he was actually convinced that there is a link between the mental health and the productivity, but he was having a real hard time to convince the board of directors. So I think then he hired me uh, to help him convince his colleagues that it really does make an impact. And then,
Yeah.
yes, from there, we just went on and
Yeah.
on.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's important. So I'm really glad that you're doing a lot of work here for the organization. It's cool to hear
Thank you.
the impact that you guys are having. And so, before diving really into a little bit more about modern health, like what are employees currently having access to? We hear I hear EAPs a lot, and I just want to make sure that I'm being as clear as possible for like how we're different than other organizations.
Sorry, I didn't quite get your question.
Yeah, just curious, like what are employees currently having access to in terms of like support? Is there anything in place or are they coming to you?
Oh, okay, yeah. So nothing is in place right now. We are building a structure for their support. So we do have for mental well-being in particular, they don't have any
Yeah.
support. They have support
Okay.
for other they have support for other, let's say, issues in terms of
Yeah.
HR or any other issues, but not in terms of the mental health.
Mental health specifically. Mm. Okay. Yeah, that's really, really helpful context. And are you currently on the search for several different partners? Like who are you evaluating? Again, I just want to make sure that I'm being as clear in terms of like how we're different than other vendors and
Yeah,
make this
absolutely.
yeah, for
So
sure.
I think I have scheduled a meeting with three different organizations. I think you're the second one. The first one that I talked to was
Hmm.
I forgot the name. I think it was Talkspace.
Okay.
You're familiar with it?
Yep.
Talkspace? Yeah.
Yep.
So and I have another meeting with I'm sorry, I've just forgotten the name. It's somewhere in my calendar. So it's another company. I was just surfing through the website and I came across these three top rated websites and then I just went with the flow.
Got it. Well, that's really helpful context. Yeah. And as you're going through this evaluation, obviously I'm here to share as much about modern health as possible and make guide you to the right decision that fits your organization. I'm not saying that modern health is like going to be the perfect fit for you, but I definitely hope that you have all the information to make the right decision. So
Sure.
That said, curious also when you're thinking about rolling out a potential benefit like Modern Health. Is that something your leadership and you have talked about?
Yes, this is something that I'll be sharing with I'll be sharing a report with the board of directors, and then they're gonna take it from there probably. Obviously, I'm gonna structure the whole program, how it's going about to go, and
Hmm.
after that they're going to give a thumbs up. They're gonna
Okay.
evaluate the services that you're providing, and as well as of course the how much it's going to cost them overall. So
Right.
they'll be
Right.
making the final call, and I'll be one that is going to provide them with different options and different solutions that they can go for.
Okay.
And
Yeah, that
obviously,
sounds
I'm going to recommend them as well, which I think is the best for the employees, and then they can go
mhm.
for the final call.
Sounds like you guys have a very clear, well-defined process, so I really appreciate that. Some orgs
Yes,
they
I
don't.
th
So,
I think the reason for that is that obviously I work directly with the higher management, so I report directly to the CEO of the company, and
mhm,
then he's the one who sets a meeting, and then he asks me to present it in front of the board of directors. So
mhm.
I'm really thankful. It's really straightforward. I don't have to go through a channel of people just to get to the CEO. So I just directly report to him.
Yeah, yeah. That is really helpful. So makes it
Yeah,
streamlined. Um, yeah. Well, let's. Sorry to keep on these little tangents here, but it's
that's
all
fine.
great information here. So, just a little bit more background as to like Modern Health and why we exist in the first place is really that we've seen a lot of workers reporting more and more symptoms of mental health conditions. 76% of workers, and that's a 17% increase over the last 2 years. A lot. What I've been hearing is is pandemic related, is that people are feeling more stressed and anxious going into the holidays, coming out of summer. Like that, mental health is like a
Yeah.
pretty stigmatized topic right now, and so, but like a lot of people are feeling a lot of stress and anxiety and depression. So, yeah, I'm just curious if that's something you've been hearing as well. Obviously, if leadership's looking into it, there must be something happening. So
Yeah. Okay, so
yeah,
can I interrupt you? Is that okay?
totally. Yeah, go for it,
All right. So I
please.
wanted to ask if you have any statistics related to the IT industry, because I do
Mm,
understand it's more like an overview, and this is something that we can get our hands on, through the website. So do you have any statistics related to the IT industry? I think that I'll be more interested in.
yeah, let me pull up some on our technology organizations that we partner with. And so most of this is going to be internal Modern Health data. We work with
Hmm.
a couple hundred technology clients. So let me just pull it up. But yeah, kind of as we go through it, I know the biggest, what we've been hearing a lot is, where are we? Where are we? Here we go. Yeah, so maybe it'd be helpful to share a little bit more about um, yeah, a little bit more like high level about our clinical approach too, and then go into like where we get this data from.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
so I mean, our clinicians, our clinical team has 175 years of clinical experience, and globally. So
I
we're
like how you
spearheaded.
worded it, 175 years.
Yeah, it's 170 or
Yeah.
135 years, 175 peer-reviewed journals. So really, this is the core of Modern Health's product and like the approach that we take. So
Okay.
really well aligned to kind of like how organizations are thinking about this from like a scientific and data perspective, and making sure that the science is really backing our approach. So Dr. Chowdhury, she leads she's our chief medical officer. And then we have, several clinicians and very experienced coaching professionals who are consulting with us and have been, really built out Modern Health since the get-go, which again was 2017. So all of these are, we also have 7 peer-reviewed publications specifically about Modern Health's data and how we're helping support employees and sharing outcomes about, and how we're getting better. So those are including coaching and our circle sessions, and therapeutic alliance. So actually aligning with a provider who shares those same lived experiences as you. And so as you can see, kind of going into like how the team built out the model is really how we see mental health is across 5 different pillars. So people at different times and different points in life are going to care about, different things across these 5 different pillars. So this is probably something that comes up more in the wellness space, is like anxiety and depression are related to all the other facets of your life, right? And whether that's professional and there's burnout, or there's social health, and so or physical and financial. Like if you get poor sleep and you don't come to work and you're not as motivated to come to work that day, that's going to impact how you show up in your personal life at home. And so it's all very interrelated.
Yeah.
And then in terms of like the financial component too, I think that's a big one that we've been hearing is more and more individuals are feeling more financial pressure. And so really we're also connecting people to, employees to financial coaching. And that's something I don't know if that's something you talk about, but really plays into well-being as well.
I think it will be a wonderful, just by looking at it, I believe it will be a wonderful addition to the well-being program, because I was just focusing on the emotional side, the professional, the relationship, the physical and financial is something that we're not focusing on at the moment, but it could be a wonderful addition. And what about the physical? Do you provide coaching on it, or do you have the other methods to train the employees as well?
That's a great question. Yeah. So first and foremost, thank you for sharing about, you think this would be a really good addition to it, and that it's sort of expanding out beyond the emotional capacity. And so in terms of physical, what it primarily means is coaching, or therapists might, substance use disorder comes up pretty commonly as well. So therapists are trained to deal with that. A lot of, mainly like physical coaching. So how are they getting motivated for exercise or sleep or diet? And so that's the way that our coaches will approach every conversation with
Yes.
employees.
So in our terms of psychology, we call it more like health counseling, health related counseling,
Yes,
or health
correct.
psychologist, right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yep. And so as you can see, kind of here, what the one-on-one care would look like. Clinical therapy, there's the mental health coaching, professional coaching, and financial coaching. So this kind of outlines those care options.
Okay.
Yeah, and the from the therapist perspective and the counseling that we have, so the minimum is a master's level certification degree, and then for coaching, it's an ICF certification. So that's the International Coaching Federation, and that's a global standard. And they each all of our coaches, we have an entire provider recruiting team that goes out and vets for different coaches, make sure that they're really high quality and they have at least 150 years of 150 hours of experience in their specific specialization. Yeah. 150 years, that'd be crazy.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, and then so what, that's the one-on-one support that employees are getting access to, and then they also can see can go log into Modern Health. All of this is on the same platform, and work in a group. So either in community sessions, listen and learn content, or discussion-based workshops. So pretty flexible on how that works, and really promoting community. So things like diversity, equity, inclusion, and belonging, and processing stressful world events. So these are like certain series and topics that are coming up more and more, and people want to access it in a group setting.
Yeah.
And then lastly is the on my own support. So that's like everything that you're talking about, the self-guided program. So it includes meditations, includes podcasts, includes specific courses that are designed around a topic, and include journaling and etc. So again, this is just I know there's a lot kind of here, but the really center of it is like employee choice and making sure employees are accessing these different resources at different stages.
Okay.
Yeah. And so kind of leading into this, and again, this is like the spectrum that we see here. I'm pointing at my screen, but so this spectrum that we see is people who are about 10% of employees are actually falling in this red zone, and 90% are falling in the yellow and green zones. And so how can we make sure that as many people stay in these zones and are moving at least across the spectrum? And if they do happen to experience something, how can we support these people who are in the red or orange? So we're essentially triaging them to the right level of care. So this is the professional services and IT are really, this is the data that we have internally. So 49% are feeling burned out at least once per week. 18% are falling in that red level of need, 53 in the yellow. And this is really interesting, this data here, like how many people are actually accessing care and what type of care are they accessing. So let's think about one-on-one support. If only about 27% of members are going to be going in and saying, I want to see a therapist or a coach. And so um, that means the rest, what, 73% are going to prefer the group setting on my own, or they're really not sure. This is the majority. I'm not sure is kind of stands out to me a lot, and we'll guide them to the right resources for them.
So the individuals who are not sure yet, let's
Mm-hmm.
say if we apply this policy or apply this in our organization, then there's some people who are not sure. So do you have a method to reach out to them, or is there like a check-in with them every month, or how does it work?
That's a great question. So, based off of, they'll essentially take a short 3 to 5 minute well-being assessment when they first log in with Modern Health. So, they'll I'm just sorry to go back a slide, but they'll essentially they'll be asked what kind of like what brings them into Modern Health across these 5 different well-being pillars. They'll take a 3 to 5 minute assessment that will put them on the spectrum, and then they will
Hmm.
be triaged. We'll recommend them to the right level of care, whether that's the one-on-one group or on my own based off of the assessment.
Right.
And then it's
Okay.
totally flexible. It's just a recommendation. They don't have to take it. They can go explore kind of on their own. But honestly, I think a demo would be really bring this to life for you. It'll explain a lot of what I'm saying and, go deeper into it. So
Yes, please.
um,
Yeah.
I don't know if that's something you'd have time for, but they take about 30 to
I
45
have
minutes.
I have a meeting at in like half an hour, so I have in half an hour. That's fine.
You have a half an hour right now. Okay.
Yes, that's fine.
Oh, let me check my calendar. Um, yeah,
Should
I
we?
also have a meeting in 30 minutes. Yeah, I was thinking we could schedule an actual like 45-minute call to go a little bit deeper. But
Okay.
if you just like to see the product now, I'm happy to
I
do
just
so.
yes. Yes, because I might be traveling during the week and the early next week as
Okay.
well. So I just want to get done
Okay.
with it. And I do have a few questions after the demo. I'm gonna
Yeah.
I can probably ask them. And would it be possible if you it would be really helpful if you could share these slides and demos? I believe that the session is being recorded.
Yes, I'm happy to share, the slides and
Fantastic.
um, everything that we have. So, well, yeah, then let me just take you through now that you've had like sort of a high level. Um, I really feel like there's a great fit in terms of how much you want to support your employees, how you think about wellness. It's really cool to hear about building out a program that's gonna um, impact the business and make sure that people are feeling supported and yeah, again, as a global provider, we have 65 countries and languages that we operate in, and we're able to get
Right.
employees access to care in less than one day. So as I'm going through the demo, I'll just highlight like how easy it is to kind of work with Modern Health.
Hmm.
And so definitely want to like see, hear how you think employees would react to this. Jump in at any point if you have questions, but I'll just take you sort of through the normal demo flow. We can kind of keep it short and sweet. So
Sure.
um, yeah, are you able to view the screen right here?
I am, yes.
Okay, cool. So once this is both, by the way, both a mobile version as well as a desktop version. So this can be offered on a computer. Um, and when an employee, so this is Isabel, when an employee comes in and makes a log in on Modern Health, we're going to take them through, like I said, a couple of focus areas, a quick 3 to 5 minute well-being assessment that's dynamic to them, and then they're going to get connected to care. If at any point they needed immediate crisis support, this will direct them to an actual like crisis line, 24/7 hotline, and they'll actually get reached out by the Modern Health care team as well. So sort of like a two-pronged approach.
So you have a 24/7 in-house crisis management support.
That is actually a partnership with an EAP called Workplace Options, and so that's the base of Modern Health is really like more of the well-being tool, and then and so that's like the one-stop shop to destigmatize it, and then this is through an EAP provider called the Workplace Options.
Okay.
Good question. Cool. And so when Isabel comes in and she's curious about Modern Health, and she's heard about it through communications, she's just going to select three subtopics across these 5 different pillars here, and so we'll kind of blast through those. But we've been hearing a lot about parenting, caregiving, and family. I'm not sure if that's coming up more for you guys, but then she'll go ahead and hit continue. She'll be asked a couple of short, questions about the symptoms that she has. As you can see, it's kind of a wide range here. And again, as I said, this assessment is completely dynamic. And so it's a clinical assessment that's based off of 3 different assessments. They're the WHO-5 Wellbeing Index, the PHQ, and the GAD. So I'm sure with your background, you've probably heard about those surveys, but this is actually all integrated into one. And so instead of going to the doctor's office and having those questions specifically related to the PHQ and GAD, this is we'll start with the WHO-5, and then if they're saying all of the time, they're not going to ask questions related to depression, anxiety.
Yeah. All right, understood.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, I'm actually very curious how this, with your clinical background, like how this is feeling so far to you.
Yeah, it's I think there's a lot of work that's been put in here. Obviously, this is something that is actually the future, coming from a organizational psychology background. I believe in the upcoming 10 years, this will be a need of every organization. They wouldn't need like a generic guidance to mental health. They will require a more customized and tailor-made services for the organization. So I believe the future of what you're showing me right now, and I believe they're gonna, the psychologists and all the researchers in your organization are also going to use this data and utilize it to make it more custom, tailor-made approach in the future as well.
You really hit the nail on the head here. I mean, on side, like that's really the approach that we take. It's like a tailored, personalized approach for employee well-being, and then it's going to also be tailored to every organization. So I'll show you kind of what that looks like here in terms of like the data, and we have a GDPR and HIPAA compliant backend Insights Hub too. So this is going to be something that'll be impactful and important for you as you want to see how employees are engaging and how they're actually doing over time with Modern Health. So I really appreciate the feedback there, and it really is quite a different approach to mental health than we've ever seen. And so, it's very cool to kind of hear your support there. So, this is the screen here. When I know I really quickly blazed through that, but
that's fine.
Pretty simple. Yeah. And then when it comes to actually improving my mental health, like what do I prefer to work on? So, again, is it on my own? Is it listen and learn? Is it work one-on-one? So that those 36% of members would select I'm not sure, and they might be guided to the resources that are most effective for them based off of the assessment they just took. But I just wanted to quickly show, and this is a demo environment, so it'll just take us through like what it looks like to work one-on-one here. Then we'll get their care recommendation, and then Isabel will see that she's been recommended mental health coaching. That's kind of what we work on, is kind of further down the next step in the process would actually be how many sessions do we want to offer to employees. So usually it's 10 therapy or 10 counseling. It depends on, every culture is different on how they define that, but counseling or therapy sessions, and then 10 coaching sessions as well. So a total of 20 sessions per year.
Okay, so if the employees used to go beyond 10, let's say one-to-one
Yep.
coaching, then how much do you charge for that? I mean, I believe how does the plan work out? I think that was my next question as well. How does the plan work out?
Yeah.
Are there different packages or how does it work out overall?
Yep. Good question. So the packages are different, going to be dependent on how many sessions we want to offer one-on-one. If an employee were to go over that, there's a few different ways that they could do it. Usually, it would be directly between the employee and the provider that they work with. So let's say they go to their 11th coaching session, they would actually pay out of pocket for that coaching session. That said,
Right,
some organizations also would say, okay, we'll reimburse that extra coaching session with Modern Health because most
mm,
employees will kind of hit that cap and um, they'll use up most of those sessions, but won't necessarily go over. Um, that it doesn't come up super frequently, but
all right,
it's a really good question. Yeah. So
thank
there's a
you.
couple of different options. Yeah.
Okay, so moving on to this, so I got the gist of the app as well, and I believe that you're going to share that with me as well in the email.
Uh, the packages or
The demo itself. Do you have like a video or
this
something
is a
that goes
demo
through it
that
with me?
what's that?
Do you have like a video or something that goes through the app itself?
Better than that, actually, I'll send you a link to our self-serve demo, so you can
Oh,
actually check it out.
perfect,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
perfect,
So I
perfect.
just wanted to
That would
walk
be
through this
amazing.
with you, and then you can play around with it, and
Yeah,
yeah, and then I'll send
I
over some slides as well. Yeah.
sure. And okay, so the next question, I got the gist of it, and I'm pretty sure since we both of us we have meeting in few minutes. So the next question was on the plans as well.
Yep.
So what plans do you offer? So that's question number one. And the question number two, that is my concern, is that we have a team here in Pakistan as well as in the US. So the team that we have here might have a time, uh, difference uh,
Mm.
than people who are working in your time zone. So do you offer, uh, and apart from that, from my clinical background, I do understand people who are anxious, they might not opt for one-to-one sessions, turn their camera on, sit in front of the camera. They do actually they like getting therapy or talking to someone through texting, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
do you offer therapy on text as well? And if you do, is it more like live chatting or is it more like offline chatting?
Good question. Okay. So yeah, let's unpack that a little bit. So we have number one being like what are the package options? How do those plans work?
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so that's what our follow-up call would be about, would be like actually going through the packages together. And so yeah, it's a lot to cover on just this call, but really it's going to be the pricing packages are going to vary between how many one-on-one coaching sessions and therapy sessions we wanted
mm,
to offer per year. If we wanted to offer to dependents, and if you wanted that like EAP add-on, which I highly recommend, and most employers will go with. So those are the three pricing nuances. Let's definitely walk through like that on an actual call. We'll
sure.
bring in like
Um,
more of a tailored
right.
proposal.
So
Yeah.
just to break you off on this one, obviously we'll definitely schedule another one after I, went through the demo and everything,
Hmm.
uh, and the slides that you send me. So if you could give me like a rough evaluation from,
Okay.
just give me like a range, how much it varies.
Yeah, totally. So about 200 employees. So um, well, it'll be anywhere between 50,000 US dollars annually to $75,000, $80,000 annually.
And it,
That's
or
typically what I
yeah,
quote. Yeah.
okay. Is that an estimate based on per employee, or is that based on just the overall
That's the
services?
overall organization. So the organization
Overall.
would offer those 10 sessions, for instance, to every single employee. Everyone would get access to their own sessions, right? So um, Yeah, and we have 35% engagement, so really 35 to 40% global engagement. So employees are truly coming in and using the services, which is amazing. And so, as you're talking about hiring potentially internally, there's a
Yeah.
lot of lift for that. There's a lot of work that's going to go into that. You don't know if employees are actually going to use it. So, yeah, really, that should give you a lot of confidence in the model. Yeah.
Yeah. And another question, if we would like to try it out on our just let's say US employees for now, and I believe the US number we have at this very moment is around, I'm not too sure, but around 50 to 70 employees. So let's
Mm.
say in just our in this relationship, we want to try it out for a few months. Let's see how it goes for our internal evaluation. And we choose our 70 employees in the US. How would that go? Would that price range drop, or would it be the same whether we go for 70 or 200?
Good question. Yeah. That's something I'll have to check with my team. And typically, I guess you're asking almost like a trial run for the US.
Yeah,
Uh, our minimum is 100, so that's something that my team is going to ask about. I can't guarantee that we'd be able to go down to 70, to be totally honest. We usually don't do trials, unfortunately. Just there's a lot of reasons for that, but we definitely don't want to give access and then say, oh, 6 months later you don't have access to care, right? So usually when employers sign up, are like they're there for our typical term is two years, and then
right. But you do a
we'll roll that
contract
out.
for
So
at least 2 years, so it's a 2 year commitment that we'll have to do with your
typically,
company.
yeah, typically, yeah. Um, there may be there, yeah. That's usually what we go with. Employees are very
Okay.
happy. Our net retention rate is 130%. So people are at year after year actually adding on product, meaning our team is always adding new parts to the product, to Modern Health, different courses, etc. So yeah, that's
Okay, so Ethan, I would just like to ask another question. Um,
100%.
um, so as I've mentioned that the industry that I work in is an allied consultant, they fall in IT industry. So from your personal experience, just asking, what's the response of the IT industry overall? Do you have a lot of IT clients? Do you have some IT clients? And what's the
Yeah.
retention rate there? And do they fall for it? And what are the, because I'm also trying to understand, and what are the challenges they might face to continue this, or
Mm.
they are totally satisfied with it? So what's your personal experience with it?
Personal experience, being on the team, especially for organizations that your size. We have about 200 clients who are in that same space. Most, again, our average engagement is 35 to 45%. In literally, that's what I'm saying in your specific industry and size. So, and then yeah, I mean actually, maybe I have a slide about this, but
Mhm.
our internal data shows that our retention rate, like I said, is 130%, meaning, again, organizations are adding on product.
Yeah.
So that is specific to, I mean, again, most of our clients are in the IT space, global IT space. So I hope that gives you some confidence there.
No, so most of your clients are from the IT industry.
Yeah, yeah, correct. Yeah, we
All right.
started as a tech company founded in San Francisco, and so a lot of them are going to be in the technology services industry.
All right. Okay,
Yeah.
so that brings me to my last question, and that is about the chat services that I was talking about. That some
Yep.
employees they might not be comfortable in one-to-one sessions. So, is there any
Yep.
chat services available?
Yeah. Let me just pull up this demo. So once we're go ahead and explore here. So I didn't get the chance to. I think we just didn't have enough time to actually go through the like one-on-one matching service, but really simple. And then as soon as Isabel's directed into care, into Modern Health, she'll be able to explore all those different options that we were talking about. And so chatting is definitely an aspect to our care services. I use it all the time with my coach. It's not live chat like a chat bot per se, but My coach responds within 15 minutes. I can, write that different things out. And then there's also follow-ups that Darlene, for instance, is Isabel's coach, will actually send over and direct her back into the Modern Health resources.
So 15-minute response time. And is there like a time as well, like a schedule as well? Like you have to text like 9 to 5 or 9 a.m. to 10 p.m.
No, no, it's very flexible.
This is
The 15
24/7.
minute, yeah, the coaches will be accessible. There's not a specific, like 15 minutes is just my personal relationship with my coach. Like if I texted them at 1 in the morning, I think that they would probably not get back until 9 or so. But yeah, it's a great question. Usually, what we see clinically from a clinical perspective, there's actually no evidence that shows that text-based therapy is impactful to outcomes. And so, but that said, using it alongside one-on-one support in this more blended care sense actually has meaningful impact. So that's really the approach that we take.
Are
It's
you
like,
sure about that? I would like to disagree with that. I believe that
interesting.
the text therapy, or if you, because traditionally, because I've practiced psychotherapy in hospitals as well,
Hmm.
and traditionally we believed, I'm just sharing in a personal capacity,
I'm
that
very
traditionally
interested.
we
Yeah.
so traditionally we believe that one-to-one face-to-face session is the most important thing that you can do, because you drive out a lot of information about your clients while they're sitting
Yep.
in front of you. You can look at their body gestures, their hand gestures, their expressions, if they're sweating or not. That you can't do over a camera. And so later on, when the COVID hit, and obviously there are some clinical studies as well, it all depends on the. I'm just going to summarize what the summary say. The clinical studies suggest, they conclude it's all about how your client feels comfortable. If they're
Yes.
comfortable
Yep.
face to face, that will be effective for them. If they're comfortable on camera, it will be effective for them. And if
Yep.
they're comfortable on text, it will be effective for them. So it's all
Hmm.
about their preference.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. That's very true. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. I completely agree, and that's something that is really really interesting. It's all about employee preference, how they prefer to receive
Yeah,
care, and that's gonna and make sure that if they feel like they're having choice, like if you feel like you're having choice in the type of care that you're
yeah,
receiving, and that you're
yeah.
not funneled into therapy, then that's actually going to make the impact, right? So completely agree. Actually, that's really interesting feedback. I'm maybe that's something in the future I could check back with our product team to be like, is there actually live
So
chatting?
right,
But this
right.
is this is this is the way that our chat, that the
So
messaging
just
works.
Yeah,
So
just to summarize, so I've got, just to paraphrase you, so I make sure that I've got everything right. So you do have coaches available for chat, but you don't have
yeah,
psychologists or counselors available for chat.
no, we do as well. So like
Oh, okay.
yeah, so let's say you work one on one with Darlene. So this could be a therapist. This might look different for your platform versus mine. If I had a therapist here, I could hit, log into the session here, take the video call. It's like, oops, sorry. Hello. And then the chatting, like you can chat with your therapist as well here. So it depends on the
Yeah.
relationship that they have. So all of our providers are accessible via chat.
All right. All right. Understood. So
Cool. And
I
then,
believe, yeah, go on.
yep. No, there was just the one last thing. I know we're coming up on time here, but really
Yeah.
was a well-being assessment score. And so again, there's so much that I could share about modern health, but I really think that this would be impactful. Um, is the data. So every individual, if they we'll prompt them to take that well-being assessment once they first log into Modern Health, as well as continuously throughout their time with Modern Health. So before they meet with a coach or a therapist, so that every provider has a more accurate picture of like how they're doing. They can edit their topics here, and then if they're recommended, they see a drop in well-being, they'll actually be recommended to work with a therapist, or their coach will recommend them to work with one. So that was just something I wanted to highlight, because um, what we'll do is actually have aggregated data and insights for
Right.
your team. So This
Right.
is what we call
And I
Modern
believe
Health
that,
Central. Yeah,
right. So this
go for it.
data will be employees' data. I believe with the consent of the employee, of course, it will be shared with the organization.
This is shared with the organization on the administrative end, but it's completely confidential. So all of it is, depersonalized data, and you must have at least 10 employees just like you'll see departments here. So you need at least 10 employees actually engaging with Modern Health in order to see this
Mhm.
data, so that it's all compliant for any global standards for privacy laws. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this
Okay.
this data though is really impactful for organizations who really care about measuring the success of the benefit, how many people are actually using those sessions, what's the provider rating, because you can our average provider rating globally is 4.9 out of 5 stars. And then they'll,
All right.
after every session, there's a quick questionnaire that asks them about how, do they think the provider actually has that ability to
Mm.
help? And so, like you said, every employee is different, and then this is really important to actually understanding if that provider is going to create long-term outcomes for them.
Mm.
And so, yeah,
All right. That's wonderful. I believe that we have covered a lot today, and it was
so
really a
much.
productive session. Yeah.
Yeah,
I really thank you for just whizzing through everything and on time as well. So
yeah.
thanks a lot for it.
Yeah, thank you as well, and Sab. Let's do, so I know you have a kind of a range to communicate back. So curious, how, first and foremost, like, how does Modern Health feel to you right now? I know it's only the second call you've taken with a vendor, given everything you've seen, plus the sort of the cost range that I provided. Yeah, just curious how it all feels.
I
And
believe
you can be
that the
totally
cost,
transparent. Yeah.
yeah, I believe the cost range is around well, I got another quote and it was they had a similar range, I must say, but I believe that Modern Health has to offer a lot more than the other vendor that I had a meeting with.
Hmm.
So it's just interesting to see the amount of work that you've put in into building such a wonderful website and an app. So yeah, that's my genuine feedback for now. I believe
Okay, thanks.
there's just a lot that you've covered, and how you have segregated health into different categories, and you have specialists of every category, and then
Yeah.
you've developed your own psychological assessments. Trust me, I know how hard that is and how time consuming that is. I've been doing that almost most of my life, and getting the scales, actually generating your psychological assessment is not hard. Getting it validated, you need at least 100 responses.
Yep.
So getting
Yep.
those responses, doing the statistics, it takes a lot of time. So
Hmm.
I have seen there's a lot of scales that are built in with Modern Health, and I'm pretty sure with the team that you have there validated, and yeah, I believe that's really attractive to me.
Great. Yeah. No, thanks for the feedback and for your time, honestly. And it's been really a wonderful conversation, learning from you and hearing what you have to share. And I would love to like go through an actual tailored,
Sure.
customized like proposal with you, and so we can walk through literally what that looks like. I don't, if you'd like to include your CEO on that, we can. I know you were saying you have to make it the more formal recommendation. So I just
Yeah.
wanted to make sure you have all the information needed. So
Yeah.
you said you were traveling this week. What does next week
Yeah.
look like? And we can just keep it short to 30 minutes.
How about we schedule something on Friday, same time
Friday
on
the
Friday,
8th.
next Friday. Yeah,
Okay,
I
let's
think
do
it
it.
will be 8th of September.
Yes. Okay, sounds good. 8th of September, same time. Um,
Yes.
okay, perfect.
Okay.
And yeah, as
I
I
just
said, I'll send you an
I
email.
j-
Yeah,
I have
sorry.
another meeting. I'm sorry. I just
Oh,
have
good.
to just quickly wrap this up,
Yep,
and I'll
sounds
see
good.
you. Yeah, I'll be in touch with you. Thank you for your time.
Perfect. Yeah, thank you, and
Thank you.
Sab.
Have a good
Have a
one.
great
Bye
one.
bye now.
Bye.
Bye bye.